everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be learning about our second strategy to solve division problems, and that is repeated subtraction. Instead of repeated addition, we're going to be using subtraction today to solve this division problem. So we've talked about before what is division. Just as a quick recap, division is when you split a big number into equal parts. It's if you have, let's say, 9 lollipops and you have 3 people you want to split those lollipops up between. You want to make sure they all get the same amount. Make sure it's equal, make sure it's fair, make sure it's even, Steven, and then we're good to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with 9, and you're going to start by giving 1 to each person, and they will all have 1. And then you're going to go back, and you're going to give everybody a second one because you have enough to do that. And then you have 3 left, so you're going to go back and give everybody a third one. And then each person would have 3 lollipops. That's because 9 lollipops divided by 3 people means each person gets 3. So it's fair share. It's making sure that you're splitting up the big number equally between whoever you're sharing it with. So it's the opposite of multiplication. So today, instead of doing repeated addition to solve the answer, we're going to actually use repeated subtraction. And repeated subtraction is actually so much easier than repeated addition, and I'm going to show you why. It's because repeated subtraction, you don't need the equal groups to do it. And I'm going to show you exactly why. I love repeated subtraction because it's actually one of the easiest strategies to solve a division problem with. So, as a reminder, this is our division symbol. It looks like a fraction bar. We've got 2 dots on top, and we also have kind of a subtraction symbol in the middle. That's because subtracting and dividing means our answer is getting smaller. We're starting with the big number. It's the opposite of multiplication. In multiplication and in addition, we are trying to find the total, the big number. And so we take 2 small numbers and either multiply or add them together. For division and subtraction, you start with the big number, and then you either minus numbers from it, or in our case today, we're dividing. We're going to split it up into equal groups to see how many they each get. So here, if I had 16 divided by 4, that means each person is going to get 4. So we start with the big number, and that is so important to remember. When you are dividing, the big number has to come first, just like with subtraction, okay? So what we're going to get into today is repeated subtraction with division, okay? I'm going to move myself down. There we go. So repeated subtraction with division. You're probably thinking, how are we going to subtract this? Well, let me show you. What we're going to do is we're going to take the big number, which here is 18, and we're going to start by subtracting the smaller number, which here is 6, and we're going to keep subtracting 6 until we get all the way to 0. And then however many times it took us to subtract to get to 0 is going to be our answer. We've been talking about equal groups, and you could do equal groups here as well. You could draw 6 groups and then start splitting up 18 into those groups. You would not put 18 in each group. You would put 1 in each group until you get to 18, and then your answer would be however many are in each group. So today, we're also starting with the big number, and our first problem here is going to be 18 minus 6. If it'll pop up. Oh, they both popped up. So 18 minus 6 is 12. And since we did not get to 0, we're going to then take 12 and subtract 6 again from it to give us 6. And then we're still not at 0, so we're going to do 6 minus 6, which equals 0. So here I had to subtract 1, 2, 3 times. I have 3 subtraction signs here. So my answer is going to be 3. So I can put the number 6 into 18 3 times. Another way to check yourself to make sure you got it right is to think, is 3 times 6 equal to 18? Because of fact families, that should be true. So that is true. 3 times 6 is 18. So I know that 18 divided by 6 equals 3. So that means if I had taken the groups method and done equal groups, I would have drawn 6 circles, split up 18 in between all of those circles, and each person would end up with 3. Here, I took 18, and then I subtracted 6, and that gave me 12. So then I took this new answer, and we're just going to keep subtracting until we get to 0, okay? So we're going to take 12 and then minus 6 again, because we're subtracting 6. It's repeated subtraction. It's the same number, minus again and again and again until we get to 0. So 12 minus 6 is 6. And then I'm almost to 0, so that's perfect because we want this to equal 0. So 6 minus 6 equals 0. So I'm finally at 0. I can stop subtracting, and it took me 1, 2, 3 times to subtract to get my answer. So here the answer for this division problem would be 3. Go watch my other videos about how to do repeated subtraction for more understanding and more clarification on how to use that in everyday life. Good luck, guys.